What's going on? So thinking about doing things a little bit differently today. I've been seeing a few posts about what people need to do to make a car a drift car, and basically the cheapest route. I've had people email me and question me just to see how much I spent to make my drift car. So what basically I'm going to do is I'm just going to basically break down my build from beginning to end of all the parts I've installed, all the work that I've had done. That like Julian's come through, Mark's come through, all that. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the motor. Basically simple setup. So this is a stock NA motor, so a stock Nissan 300ZX motor. Me and Mark have done some testing. He put his car in the dyno. Basically what we're making is about 225 to the crank. So it's not bad, it's not great. I mean, it's a great beginner motor. And if you take care of them, they are reliable. People all over are saying, oh, like, I don't, VGs suck, this and that. Like, I put this thing to the test for the past 2 years, and this thing has killed anything. Like, I've ran it low on coolant, I've ran it hot, I've run it cold, and it performs. So I don't know what those people are doing, I don't know what they're saying. But yeah, basically this is a stock motor. All I have is so I have the AMS strut bars, so front and rear. I got a deal. They were having some kind of sale or whatever. I know a lot of people are against AMS. This is the only AMS thing that I run on my car, is the two strut bars, the front and the rear. Like I said, there is a little bit of work that you have to do to make them fit correctly, but I mean, for the price, they look good. I don't care, so you guys can hate me for it, whatever, but the strut bars, they're literally strut bars. Like, you can make your own strut bar and it basically do the same exact thing. It's just keeping the motor in a steady place. So yeah, so like I said, whatever, I'm gonna get off that rant, but those are about $100. Okay, so strut bars, $100. And like I said, so that's that. Basically everything else is pretty much stock. It's got a phase 2 CAS. They basically go for the same price as the phase 1s around. I mean, you can find a used one for $60-$70, maybe a little bit cheaper. New ones range from 130 to 180 area. So but yeah, so phase 2 CAS. They're stock injectors, nothing crazy, just stock NA injectors. They're the newer style. There's like the Gen 1 style, and then the newer style. They are the newer style. And then going on from there, I just have literally eBay intake pipes. Those were $40 on eBay. They work, they fit perfectly fine. I think they were the DNA type on eBay, whatever. My Z1 couplers I got. Those, I think, were about, for the whole set, were probably like $100. And then my Mishimoto radiator, thanks to the sponsorship, we got this for a sweet deal. But typically, going off, like straight on off the website, they're $320 for the radiator. From that, I do have eBay headers on it that are wrapped. The headers were, I think, $110, and then the wrap was, I think it was like $20. I got one huge roll and it worked for both sides of the headers. So yeah, so like I said, that was another $20. Solid motor mounts from Z1. I actually got those off Joe Nadonally. He is like a guy in the forums and everything that he sells a lot of used parts. It's a Z1, like I said, solid motor mounts. Those things are awesome. I would definitely invest in those if you guys could. I think those were like $40 or $50. And then also our Z1 adapter for our Pro Sport gauge that you need, so you can actually like be able to read your coolant temp and everything like that. Mishimoto catch can for, or like overflow for the radiator. Those go about $80 online. Through Mishimoto, and that's basically it for the motor. So everything else is pretty much stock, and that's that. So basically, going on from the motor, you're about like I said, a stock motor with all like the little things I've done. I'm around like $400 just for like the motor part, but that's within time. Like if you guys want to do your entry-level drifting, I'll be able to tell you guys exactly what you need, because you don't need like that bigger radiator or things like that. So what we're gonna do now is go in through the front end. So I'm gonna remove this bumper here. So K&N air filter, they go for, I think brand new on Z1, they're about like $80 to $100 ish area. You can find used ones. I think I sold my used one for like 40 bucks, 50 bucks. So they last very long as long as you keep up with them, clean them. And then I also have my power steering cooler right here. Twan hooked me up with that, but I think you can go to Pet Boys for like, I think it's like 20 bucks, 30 bucks ish for that. So I have my ISR toe strap. That was another like $15 off Engenku. And then we also have the underglow. That was another 20 bucks off eBay. Yeah, I mean, that's basically it for the front end right here. And then once we get into the angle kit, so right here we have Godspeed tension rods. The tension rods ran, I think, like 40 or 50 bucks. And then for the angle kit, I sent my kit out to Brian Broom. Brian Broom made his custom version 2 kit for around like $150, $160. So that's just for the like the angle kit in general, just like him cutting and welding the lower control arm and the knuckle piece. And then what we would have to do is you would need a Z32 inner tie rod, which runs you, I mean, if you already have a Z32, it's stock on the car, so you're good. But if you need to get a new one, I think it's around $30 to $35. And then you have to get the outer tie rod, which is another around 30 bucks. So $60 for the setup just for the tie rods. And then the other side we ran was a Nissan Maxima tie rod. And that was, again, another $30 for the tie rod. And then the outer tie rod was like another 30 bucks for the outer. So front end wise, we were at around 150 for the angle kit, and then for both sides, so another 120 for the tie rod, inner and outer tie rods, and then the Power Tricks rack spacer was another $50. Godspeed front upper control arms, I think those were about $80. So that's pretty much what I have for my angle setup. We're gonna go to the rear of the car. Rear car is, I mean, pretty simple. Basically, I just have the Power Trick. You can't really see, but I have the Power Tricks arms in the rear. The full setup for the Power Tricks can range depending on where you get them. Like, I got mine from a junkyard, so I got them super cheap. But if you're gonna do them, I think they run around like $300 to $400 for the full set. I think it's like $535 or something like that. I think for the total full set of all the control arms that you need for the rear end. Then also we welded the diff. So we welded the diff. It was $50. So depending on who your fab guy is and who you know, it might be a little bit more. That's totally depending on your fab guy. But like I said, that's only 50 bucks for me. So I would say in the total in the rear end, so the diff, I swapped some bushings also. So my bushings I swapped were probably another $60 to $80 for the diff. And then what we would do going on after the control arms and the diff, basically we have our dual caliper set up here. So you can get your, depending on where you get your calipers from, you can literally go to a junkyard and probably grab one for like 25, 30 bucks a pop. Or you can go to basically any like parts website you can go to and get them pretty cheap, like 50, 60 bucks tops, if anything, for the rears. Then I have the Mustang rotors. Mustang rotors ran about $80. So that's that for basically the full total rear end. So we went from diff to diff bushings to control arms to dual caliper setup to rotors, and then the actual plate that you need for your dual caliper setup. I went through Maverick Motorsports, and I think that was around $100 and $150 for those actual like plates that you need to have these be able to be set up on that. The HKS exhaust that I have is not supposed to fit the 2+2. So this came off of a 2+0 car. I had it custom cut and welded so I could make it fit on the 2+2. So that was, I think, another $150 to get that cut and welded. But the HKS alone, I don't know how much that is. I think it's around $800 for the full like exhaust from the cat's back. But depending on where you get that, obviously, again, that's where it's gonna work. But for me, basically, I got that super cheap. The Lambo doors, I have no idea. Don't ask me about them. They came with the shell when I got the car in New York, so it is what it is. For the front and rear suspension, I have the Godspeed Mono SS coilovers. Basically, you can get those coilovers for super cheap. Those guys are awesome. They're always trying to hook people up. I think I got them for around $600, $650. So, they're, like I said, they run great. I've been beating on them, and they run awesome. So now going into the car, basically what we have here is that we have my Sparco Rev seat. I ordered this from England. I think it was around $530. The side mounts here I got from Jegs. Those were about $80, and then the Sparco bottom mount was another $80. So, like I said, about $530 for the seat, $80 for that, and then another $80 for that. And then going on in, Pro Sport gave me the hookup here. I think each of these gauges go for about $40 or $50 a piece. I have like the water temp, oil temp, and oil pressure all set up there. I got the 3-piece gauge set up for from Z-Bruhz. I think that was $50 or $60. And then the D&D sport wheel, suede sport wheel here is another, I think, around $100 for the wheel, 100 and 120. And then the quick release is another $40 or $50, and then the short hub is another $60 to $80 here for that full setup. The Siki Hydro handbrake was another $200. The level ride concepts plate that it attaches to, this is another $40, $50 for that. And then going from there, we have our Jegs switchboard panel. So that was about $100 for the switchboards with all the switches and stuff. So then we have the Bridge Moto harness here. That was about $200 for all the hardware, and another $25, I think, for the shoulder pads. And then we have our Cypher Racing harness bar. That was about another $110 for the harness bar. And, yeah, I mean, that's basically it. Like, my car is pretty simple compared to all these other guys that have, like, fuel cells and all this other crazy crap. This D-Max hood scoop. The D-Max hood scoop is another, I think, $100, $110 for the D-Max hood scoop. This I would definitely recommend getting because my car has run so cool since I've got that put on. It's ridiculous. And then we have the Twin Z, I think it's the Concept 1 nose panel. That was another $100 there. And that's about it. Alright guys, so basically after going back through the whole entire car and marking everything down of the prices, I basically, after adding everything up, it came up to about $6,500. That's over 2 years of I mean, just like the parts and like all the mods that I basically put onto the drift car. That doesn't include like labor, time, food for the boys, like, you know what I mean, like even the, like the little stuff, like all the wiring and the butt connectors and the tape and everything like that. So I'd say it'd be probably close to about about $7,000 I put into the Z. So it's pretty crazy. It's definitely pretty pricey. The main reason why I'm putting this video up is mainly it's just due to the fact that people that put their cars up online or like trying to sell their cars and stuff, if you guys notice that the cars are pretty pricey when it comes to drift cars, they call it drift tax or whatnot. The reason is because all the time, the effort, all the stuff that they put in the car, obviously they want to be able to get their money back, but the thing is you won't get your money back. Like I said, I would never sell my Z. If I had to, it would literally a piece of my soul would be left just like how the Daily got hit. But yeah, basically I just want to give you guys a quick like rundown of exactly what I've done to my car and how far along my progress has been in the past 2 years. So hopefully you guys like it. Definitely leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think, and give me some insight on what the next mod should be for the drift car. So yeah, you guys know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.